Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're watching me from. My name is Dr. Obiorah Mbah, Iboreze, reaching you today from Nkolo Mahadum, Wisdom University. Today's date is Oye, no one can know. Oye market date, no one can know. Na lunar calendar. You know that Igbo calendar follows lunar calendar. And then the Roman Catholic calendar, today's date is May 19th, 2024. Like we always advise you from Kolomahadum, always follow your own calendar, your lunar calendar. That's what you should be following. Why the Roman Catholic calendar will be next if you need it. The title of our lecture today is that the Arab Muslims will continue to conquer you because they have been doing so since the 7th century. The Arab Muslims will continue to conquer Africans. You, Africans, because they have been doing so since the 7th century. Now, we are in 2024. Minus it from 700. So they have been doing so since 1,324 years. They are masters in the game. Because the Arabs started conquering Africa from the 7th century, when in 642, they conquered Egypt. It is from Egypt that they spread to other parts of Africa. And they conquered Egypt from Damascus, from Umayyad Caliphate. They are the ones that conquered Egypt between 661 to 750 CE. By military force. They used the military to invade Egypt and conquered it. And from there, they have been spreading across Africa, to Sudan, to the eastern shores of Africa, to the Horn of Africa, to Swahili Coast, all also coming from the Arabia and Persian Gulf. Because you know that's where the Arabs are mainly concentrated. They are mainly concentrated in the Persian Gulf and the Arabia. That's why they're called Arabs, Arab Muslims. Before we continue, Nkolo Mahadum will advise you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our program, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and let your friends know what you are learning from Nkolo Mahadum. Because it's for you and I, it's for Africans, it's for Biafrans to be better, to understand the world they live in, and to know how to survive in it. And don't forget, we always present issues to you from the eagle eye of a Biafran and an African. So, continuing, I will give you some dates. They came to Gao, G-A-O, in 1985. And then they also came to Ghanaian Empire between the 6th and 13th century. They also came to Songhai Empire between 1460 and 1591. Even the kingdom of Kanem. Have you heard about the Kanem-Borno Empire? They also spread over there between 900 and 1390 CE. Even to Hausa land in today's northern Nigeria, they spread over there in the late 14th century. You can see how fast they are spreading all over Africa. And that's why we are letting you know today that if you don't do something, if you keep sleeping, if you don't know this, that one day your land will be conquered by the Arabs. We just finished lecturing you about how the Europeans took our lands, enslaved us, and continue to rule us till today. The other people conquering us are the Arabs. And that's why Nkolo Mahadum is bringing it to you today. Because we told you we're going to be organizing lectures for you that you're supposed to know that are not taught in your schools, and explaining them from Biafran and African perspective. The only place that the Arabs faced some challenges, some stiff opposition, was in Ethiopia. It was in Ethiopia that they faced stiff opposition, but upon that, the Arabs reinforced from Egypt, from the leadership in Egypt, and many Christians and indigenous populations around Ethiopia, all of them fell to them. They took control of them. The only place that survived the Arabic and Muslim onslaught was the place called Abyssinia, the current Ethiopia. That is the only place that they couldn't conquer. So they are master in the game. We know that the British are also helping them, like in Nigeria, but they themselves, they've been doing this. They know how to do it. And their culture supports that also. A culture, the Muslim culture, allows even a shoemaker to marry up to 5 wives or even 10 wives and can have up to 50 children. That's why you have this Almajiri. It's not that sometimes some people, like our people, think that the northern Nigeria, for example, that they are poor. They're not poor. It's just their system, the Muslim religion, allowing them to marry so many wives, even when you don't have the resources, and to produce so many children. And these children is the people you see as Almajiris. And these Almajiris are their foot soldiers. That's the one that they use to conquer you. When it comes to the military, they recruit them into the army and take over your land and people. That's what you should know. You can't just be seeing things from the upside down. Look at the roots, look at underground, and understand what is going on. And so many areas in Africa, many countries in Africa today are being controlled by the Muslims. Like in Mauritania, Tunisia, Somalia, Western Sahara, Algeria, Morocco, and so on. So for us Biafrans, for you in the Middle Belt, For you in Yoruba land, you have to open your eyes. You see what is going on in the country right now, where the Fulani herdsmen are killing people everywhere in Nigeria. They are actually killing the indigenous people. They're not killing mainly Muslims. They're killing mainly indigenous people, people that own the land. Even in Zamfara, in Sokoto, in Kano and Benue, and even in Biafra land. The other day, we were talking about the one that happened at Uzo. They've been killing our people, taking their lands, renaming the lands. So imagine what will happen in the next 200, 300, 400, 500 years coming. They will conquer our land, Biafra land, our God-given rights, our God-given land. So you need to wake up. You need to know this. This is a fact. And before we continue, we will remind you again, please, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. Like our program, share, comment. So that anytime we have a new lecture, you're going to be the first to get it. It's very important. So continuing, don't you ever, as a Biafran or an African, you live in London, you live in America, you live in Canada, you live in any other place, Russia, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and you don't have this information, and you're not supporting the efforts to prevent taking over our land, you are living in devil's paradise. It will happen. They know how to do it. They've been doing this since the 7th century. They've been doing this, which is almost 1,324 years. They've been doing it. They are experienced in it. They know how to do it. Their culture allows them to do it. That's what you should know. They've been fighting. They've been fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. All they know is to fight and conquer you. Fight and conquer you. Fight and conquer you. And that's what's going on in Nigeria today. When you bring it home to Nigeria, that is what is going on. Therefore, if you're a Biafran, you need to wake up. Stop being over-comfortable abroad or outside Biafra land, whether in Lagos, whether in Kano, whether in Benin City, whether in Abuja. Open your eyes and understand that if you don't do something, if you don't support the effort to prevent taking over our lands, it will eventually be taken. Go and mark it. They know how to do it. If not, how would you imagine the boldness of coming to our land, Biafra land, and killing people in our land, like they did in Uzuwan? It's not only there, across Biafra land. So we need to wake up. This is what you should know. These things are not taught to you in the schools. And that's why Koloma had decided to be organizing these lectures and be giving it to you bit by bit so that you can assimilate it and pass it on to people to understand that the Arabs are masters in conquering people. It is the Arabs and Europeans that are conquering us. They are the one taking over our resources, our lands and resources of the indigenous people. We are the indigenous people. In this case of Biafra. And you have indigenous people across the whole Nigeria, in the whole north. There are many indigenous people that are not Muslims. or are forced to convert, it is them that their lands and resources are being taken by force. And you should help to stop it. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. But before we do, we must advise you, wherever you are, as a Biafran, support the Eastern Security Network established by our tested and trusted leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to protect our farmlands and forests and bushes, to drive away all these Fulani terrorists, herdsmen terrorists from our lands. Support them. People are sacrificing to do this work. And you are in your comfort zone and not supporting them, then you're out of touch with reality. Supposed to support them. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. I want to thank you for joining us today. Again, my name is Obiorah Mbah Igbo Eze. Thank you. Bye-bye.